There are so many things to love about Disney's Moana. There's the music, the strong, independent princess, the compelling storyline, and Jermaine Clement playing a giant crab covered in gold.
What?
The only thing not to like about it is how long it's taken to get a sequel. But there have been some rumors about what we can expect to see, and they include an all-new, never-before-seen princess. The first Moana movie was released in 2016, or basically an eternity ago. It came out the first year as Zootopia, which is another movie fans are anxious to get a sequel to. Moana grossed over $690 million worldwide and was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Animated Feature and one for Best Original Song for How Far I'll Go. The character Moana stands out as a strong Polynesian princess whose journey doesn't have anything to do with romance.
I am Moana of Motunui.
But she might not be the only princess in her franchise once the sequel comes out. This rumor is associated with Lin-Manuel Miranda, the force behind the musical Hamilton, and many of your favorite songs from Moana. He even sings a duet of You're Welcome with Jordan Fisher, which you can hear over the end credits of the movie. After working on the first film, it's safe to say that Lin-Manuel Miranda is quite familiar with the feel of the franchise. Disney actually sent him and his co-workers to a traditional vocal and dance festival in New Zealand to help inspire them. According to composer Mark Mancina, the most difficult part of putting together the music for the movie was Hamilton taking off and consuming all of Miranda's time. Even though a lot of their collaboration took place via conference call after that, the film emerged with a stunning soundtrack, which isn't too surprising. It is a Disney movie after all. The most compelling rumor we have about the sequel comes not from Manuel himself, but from his father. According to Page 6, he exclusively revealed to them that a sequel to Moana is indeed in the works, and that Manuel will be returning to work on the music. Of course, that's exciting, but not totally unexpected. But then he said that the movie would be about a Latina princess. Everyone knows that Disney has absolutely no shortage of fair-skinned, wide-eyed princesses. And while we love many of these classic characters, it's great that Disney is starting to incorporate more diversity into their movie lineup. And a Latina princess is actually something they've been talking about for quite some time. During a press tour for Sophia the First, producer Jamie Mitchell was asked about what made the show culturally relevant, and said that Sophia would be a Latin princess. Which sounds great, except for the fact that it wasn't true. Whoops. The National Hispanic Media Coalition sat down with Disney representatives to talk about the cultural impact of the show, and discovered that Sophia the First isn't a Latina character at all. The whole thing was blamed on a misunderstanding, but fans weren't happy about it, and accused Disney of misleading them. Nancy Cantor from Disney Junior Worldwide tried to calm angry fans by pointing out that Sophia is a fairy tale girl who lives in a fairy tale world. While her story includes some elements from different real-world cultures, she's definitely not a Latina princess. Producers claimed that Sophia was never even supposed to be Latina, but that this experience taught them that there was a demand for such a princess, so that was something they'd start working on. So they rolled out Elena of Avalor, which promised to actually feature a Latina princess based on the backlash from Sophia the First. Elena is voiced by Dominican-born actress Amy Carrero, but that's not enough to convince fans that she's a true Latina princess. After all, just like Sophia, Elena hails from a fictional fairy tale kingdom. Even though her story was influenced by aspects of Chilean and Mayan culture, is she any more of a Latina princess than Sophia? We'll let you decide how you feel about Elena of Avalor, but suffice it to say that Disney considers her a Latina princess. But they're presumably aware that many fans either outright disagree or believe the show is still playing it too safe. Elena of Avalor premiered in 2016, the same year Moana came out, and Disney has been doing a lot in terms of diversity since then. Just look at Coco, which is inspired by the Mexican holiday of Day of the Dead, and is the first film to have an all-Latino principal cast and a 9-figure budget. Coco made a whole bunch of money, over $870 million. And you know that nothing motivates Disney more than good old-fashioned green. So the idea that they'll include an indisputable Latina princess in Moana 2 does seem to make sense. As far as the casting goes, it seems like an absolute must that Moana and Maui would return for the sequel. Our Polynesian princess is portrayed by Auli'i Cravalho, who was actually the last person to audition for the part of Moana. Hey, better late than never. She almost didn't try out for the role, but thank goodness she did. She also reprised the part for the short film Moana Gone Fishing, a cameo in Ralph Breaks the Internet and the Hawaiian language version of Moana. She also played Ariel in The Little Mermaid Live, a live-action concert of The Little Mermaid put on by ABC. If you're a fan, you can look forward to seeing her in Sorta Like a Rock Star, which will be released on Netflix. And then there's Dwayne Johnson, who, as we all know, is a very busy guy. Since Moana came out, he's taken on a role in the Jumanji franchise and will be appearing in Disney's Jungle Cruise movie. As for who would be voicing the new Latina princess, there have been rumors about Cuban-Spanish actress Ana de Armas. Her breakout role was as the hologram Joy in Blade Runner 2049, and she was nominated for a Golden Globe for her role in Knives Out. Although the actress refused to divulge anything specific, she did express excitement at the idea of a Latina princess in the sequel to Moana. She claims that she chooses roles based on the story, so if the script is good, it sounds like she'll definitely be interested. If we do get a new Latina princess, how will she fit into the story, and what will the sequel be about? Some time ago, the shape-shifting demigod Maui stole the heart of the goddess Te Fiti. Even though this didn't go over too well, at least his intentions were good.
I'm sorry.
He was trying to give humanity the power of creation, but just succeeded in causing Te Fiti to disintegrate. And as an added bonus, Maui was blasted out of the sky by the volcanic demon Te Ka and lost both his handy-dandy magical hook and the heart itself. The movie tells the story of a girl named Moana, who lives on the Polynesian island of Motunui. She's the daughter of the chief, and her dad wants her to stay as far away from the ocean as possible, which is pretty challenging, since, again, they live on an island. But the ocean calls upon Moana to return the heart to Te Fiti. Her family wants Moana to stay and train to take over as chief, but things get dire when Motunui is plagued with crop failure and a serious lack of fish. Moana knows the only way to save her home and her people is to disobey her family and restore the heart of Te Fiti. Moana ends up befriending none other than Maui himself, who helps her defend the heart against the Kakamora and teaches her how to sail. Finally, they make it to the island of Te Fiti and discover that Te Ka is actually Te Fiti, but corrupted because of the loss of her heart. They hand over the heart. Te Fiti turns back into a mountain, and Moana returns home to lead her people. Moana grew up being told to stay away from the ocean, but at one point she discovered that her people used to be voyagers who frequently traveled on the ocean. At the end of the movie, Moana takes over and takes her formerly landlocked people out onto the open sea. It doesn't seem like a stretch to say that Moana and her people have probably continued their wayfinding ways since the first movie. Because Moana isn't stuck on an island anymore, who knows what kind of people she'll encounter on her journey? Maybe that's how she'll encounter the Latina princess. One of the rumors surrounding the sequel is that Disney was inspired to create it based on the success of Frozen 2. Talk about movies that made Disney a boatload of money. Frozen 2 was a highly anticipated movie, and many fans were excited at the possibility that Elsa could be the one to find love this time. But not necessarily with a man. No, we're not talking about Sven, that's Kristoff's thing. Many fans thought Elsa's troubles in the first movie made a fitting allegory for what it's like to spend time in the closet. They wondered if it was possible that Elsa could get a girlfriend by the end of Frozen 2. Well, that didn't happen, although there's no shortage of fanfiction out there about Elsa and Honeymaren who spent minutes talking to each other in the movie. If Disney is chasing the success of Frozen 2 and being willing to push the envelope, is it possible that the Latina princess could actually be a love interest for Moana? Disney did include a gay character in their live-action Beauty and the Beast, although LeFou did gain plenty of criticism. Many theaters refused to screen the film, and some members of the LGBTQ community had an issue with the stereotypical way LeFou was portrayed. But just because Disney didn't get things exactly right the first time doesn't mean they won't stop trying. After all, they definitely improved on creating a Latina princess from Sofia to Elena, and if the rumor about Moana 2 is accurate, then they're trying it again. Would it be so crazy for Moana to find a girlfriend while exploring the seas? It's also entirely possible that the film will go in a totally different direction, one without Moana. Some sources say that the movie will actually be a prequel which takes place before the events of the first movie. That means no Moana, since the events will happen before she was born. Instead, the prequel will be about Maui and how he became a coconut-planting demigod in the first place. We got a brief version of his backstory during the song You're Welcome, but this film would go into it in much greater detail. It might sound crazy to have a Moana movie without the titular character, but if Moana isn't in the movie, then it would give a Latina princess a chance to take on more of a lead role. Plus, we all know that none of us can get enough of Dwayne Johnson. He's just so talented. We do know that whatever Moana 2 is about, it'll be sure to feature just as much toe-tapping music to get stuck in our heads as the first film. And if Frozen 2 is any indication of the quality of Moana 2, Disney's probably getting ready to say "You're welcome" to fans once it premieres. What are your predictions for the upcoming sequel to Moana? Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and then click on that subscribe button for more videos from us here at The Binger. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.